I'm Val from Victory Stitches, and I'm going to show you how I finish pot holders using the backing as the binding. I've got a whole bunch in different stages, so I don't actually have to sew anything while I do this very quick video for you. Alright, so you'll need your finished front piece, some batting, and some backing, which basically a fat quarter will work, and you can trim it down. Rulers, cutting mat, those fun things. All right, so I'm going to flip this thing down and show you how to do this. Okay, hopefully that'll work. So first things first, how to remove your papers. Very, very simple. You're pretty much just taking the papers out. So I use, this is about a 4mm double pointed knitting needle. It works really well because they're slightly blunt because you don't want to be poking through anything. But just sort of lift your pieces up, bring them through like this, and they pop off. When I English paper piece, I don't always cut exactly because no one's going to see this on the back anyways, and otherwise it's just going to go in the garbage. I also find the further you can glue away from the seam, the easier it is to sew. So I like to try and glue as far away as I can, so the back doesn't have to look perfect. And your papers come out. Once you got all your papers out, you get this piece here, different one. And I like to press all my sides inwards as if they were all, like folded on their papers. That way you get nice crisp edges. When you English paper piece, you also go right to the edge of your project, so always keep that in mind when you do a project. When you sew it, normally you have a 1/4 inch around, but when you English paper piece, you don't always have that unless you put that on the side yourself. So, pressed nice inwards and inwards, put it on some batting. If I was going to sell this, I would use fresh batting, but I like to take all my bits and pieces of batting, zigzag, bunt them all together, zig them all together, zigzag them, nice big zigzags, and you get these reusable pieces that are fantastic. So you just put it down, and you want to trim it to the exact size. Now you'll see little bits like here sticking out, here sticking out. You can trim those off as you go, but try to keep as much as you can right on this angle without cutting through your stitching here and here, like in those places, okay? So take your ruler and, well, I'll trim this one because I'm going to need to do that anyways. Fold you in like that. There you go. And you would continue to make sure that all these sides are nicely trimmed as close as you can get, okay? Yep, I'm gonna need that back in. Next, take your fat quarter or any piece that is at least an inch longer, inch wider on each side of your project. Iron this. I'm not going to because I'll use it later. But so when you put it down, put it on your paper piece like this, okay? Make sure that you have an inch here, inches here, inch here at least. I like to cut a little bit bigger than an inch for this bit and trim it afterwards. Okay, so once you got that all cut out, you end up with a piece like this. There we go. Pin it and go and quilt it. Okay, for this one here, I like to stitch in the ditch and I outline everything. You can go across, you can do those things. My OCD just does not allow me to do that. Although I find it looks awesome, I can't do it myself. I end up tracing outlines. So once you've quilted it all, okay, this all sticks together. And I've already gone and trimmed these to an inch around. Now I'm going to show you how to bind it. The binding is attached, like I said, which is nice. And you can either get mitered corners or non-mitered corners. The simplest way to do this, okay, is just to fold each piece towards the edge of your project. So you fold your binding in half towards the edge of your project like this. And then you just simply fold again. You can do this and iron as you go. I find I don't need to. Do that for all the edges and you'll get, you know, your typical corners like this, okay? Or if you want to miter your corners, which is very easy to do, a little trick I found when I was making all of these. Normally you would cut this, but I decided not to cut it, so don't sew these corners here when you're doing your quilting bit, okay? Fold an edge. I'm going to fold this edge so you can see it better. Fold an edge so that, you know, it's sort of like that on a corner. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. Then pop your edging over with your top and your batting. Fold that corner back in like that. Fold that guy out. Make sure you have about 1 millimeter. I don't know if you can see that. About 1 millimeter there. Okay. And do that to all your corners. This was already sort of pre-done and I took it apart, so all the nice little corners are already there for me. There we go, something like that. Okay. Then you fold just as you did before. So you fold your first towards the middle, okay, like that. I'll put some clippies in here. Okay. And then fold again. So you're folding on top of your project this time. Okay, like so. And what you will notice, and this is the super cool part, is you get this beautiful, can you see that? Mitered corner happening. That's awesome. So I'll do this side and then you can see how it shows up. Okay, fold it once and fold it again. And look at that, you get a perfect mitered corner. Okay, do that guy and this guy. All right, so if you can see that, a perfect mitered corner. And so you can hand stitch this. I prefer to hand stitch. So you just go in and, well, there's plenty of YouTube videos on binding, so very easy to do. When you get here, you can do one of two things. I've tried 2 methods, in which I will show you. You can stitch this by machine too if you want really close to the edge. It just looks better with hand stitching. For this one here, I just continue to do like the regular slip stitch over top. You can barely see it because it's red. And for this one, I did invisible stitching, kind of like doing shoelaces. You go up along the side of each piece a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, a little bit, switching sides, and it's invisible stitching. So your 2 corners just meet up absolutely perfectly. And there you go. Your pot holder is finished. Your front, your back, everything's combined. I really should have used red there. I didn't. I used white. You can see my squares. And I hope that helps. Have a good one.